Okay. All right, good afternoon. I'd like to bring this meeting of the Washington County Open Space and Regional Parks Commission to order. First order of business is roll call.
Matthew Weber.
Nathan Daniel.
Doug Doolittle. Chris Hensel.
Carissa Tashiro.
Kitty Jung, Washoe County Commissioner for District 3 and your liaison.
Michael Large, Deputy District Attorney.
All right, thank you. Next is Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, next is public comment, and as usual, we have a public comment from Kathy Brandhurst. Kathy?
My name is Kathy Brandhorst, and I am the United States President. And I just wanted to let you know the evictions are really bad right now in my area. They seem to rise in more murders, more tortures, more holding hostage, more criminals, more robbing the grocery stores, more robbing the gas stations, siphoning gasoline out of automobiles. Also, not only robbing the gas from the gas stations, they are breaking and entering into the area where they have small stores, grocery stores. And they are looting people's purses, people's wallets. They are also stealing bank cards. They're also stealing EBT cards, which are food stamp cards. Oh my God. And they also steal the money right off those debit cards so that they can get food. Also, I just wanted to let you know the more evictions that they get, the worse it gets over in my area. They know that they've been evicted, so they have to leave the property. They were given less than 24 hours, but they are still on the property. They shoot down the sheriffs, the police, the FBI. They also shoot down people that are all involved in the evictions. Not only that, they also shoot down the authorities like the Highway Patrol, U.S. Secret Service, and etc. Oh, it's also the U.S. military that they are shooting down, holding hostage, and putting them to sleep and make sure that they are tortured to death. I just don't know what to do to stop all the blood and shed, the blood and gruesome murders out there. It's just awful. You don't know what we are experiencing out there. The experiences are still going on because they are squatters. They do not live there. So that's why they are thrown off the property. But they come back with their machine guns, they shoot down innocent people, and those innocent people don't have a gun. They don't even have a chance.
Thank you, Kathy. Seeing no other public comment, we'll move on to approval of the agenda for today.
Move to approve.
All right, we have motion to approve.
I'll second the motion.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, passes unanimously. Next, we'll do item 5 is approval of minutes from the September 5th meeting.
Second.
Move.
Move, yeah.
Okay, we have a second.
I'll second.
Okay, discussion. Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, Passes unanimously. There are no acknowledgements today, so we'll move past item 6 on to item 7, which is review and possible recommendation of the Board of County Commissioners on an agreement between Tianyu, the May Arboretum Society, and Washoe County for a Chinese Lantern Festival to take place in the May Arboretum and Botanical Gardens in July and August 2018. Superintendent?
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon. For the record, Colleen Wallace Barnum, Parks Operations Superintendent. So before you today, I think we came a few months ago and we didn't have the agreement, so we've got the agreement in place. Tianyu and May Arboretum Society, they actually, Tianyu approached May Arboretum Society because the May Arboretum now has fencing around the entire perimeter of the Arboretum and felt that it was a potentially good and safe location to hold a Chinese Lantern Festival. They do these throughout the world and certainly nationally in large cities such as Philadelphia. They would cater this Lantern Festival specifically to Reno and specifically to the May Arboretum in terms of our acreage and our current amenities and what could potentially be there. A few months ago, I believe it was in May, Lynn Bethel with the May Arboretum Society, she actually put on a presentation with some really nice slides showing the kind of the visual appeal of this type of an event. And Tianyu really believes that we can draw from cities like Sacramento, even San Francisco, to come to the area. We thought it would be important. Staff, was meeting with the May Arboretum Society and even Tianyu. And in some of our meetings, we thought it would be a great opportunity to bring it to the area during Art Town because it's a great art exhibit in general. So thought maybe that would be a good opportunity to tie it in with a, maybe a marketing approach from Art Town as well. So thought July would be great. So if you can see that we're doing it from June 30th to August 5th, so it's roughly 5 full weeks with an inclusive of a weekend. Again, going back and forth with negotiations on the agreement with both Tianyu and May Arboretum Society. One of our big concerns was the number of attendees per day. The reason we had that concern mainly had to do with a pumpkin walk that we hosted back in 2015, which was a one-day event. It was hugely popular with the public, which was wonderful, but we did not feel that we had the staffing available to really manage it well. We had really long lines. People complained about the amount of time they had to wait. Although they enjoyed the event, there were some issues with it, so we wanted to make sure we were addressing that in the agreement. So just are there any questions in reviewing the agreement, or do you want any more background on some of the meetings we had with Tianyu and May Arboretum Society?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is this where you light the lanterns and they go up into the air?
No, great question.
They have that in Fernley, but they, when they advertise it, they say it's in Reno, and I had a bunch of Chinese family come up from Sacramento, and then we had to slug it all the way to Fernley, even though they called themselves the Reno Lantern Festival. So what differentiates that?
Great question, because I thought the same thing when they first came to us, and I thought, oh my gosh, the wildfire danger would be crazy. But it's actually LED lights. So they're colorful lanterns. They're static. They actually remain either, some of them are actually hung from, whether it's some type of structure that they create through the Arboretum or a structure of the Arboretum in a safe fashion, but it's actually a structure. And there's multiple ones that they've designed preliminarily to be in the area. They're actually created by artisans from China, and the Chinese artisans will come to Reno, actually, basically make their home at Rancho San Rafael Park for a couple of weeks, creating them, building them, and then getting them into the Arboretum.
Thank you.
Colleen, what would be the impact to staffing? Is it going to take anything away from services that the staff have to perform on a daily basis, or are you going to augment it with seasonal staff?
We don't have any additional dollars to do that. If you look through the agreement, most of the responsibilities are on Tianyu, which is the company bringing in. They have the majority of the responsibilities. So they'll be hiring security. They'll actually be providing additional restroom, sanitary facilities. They'll be providing staffing for, queuing of people maybe waiting in line for tickets. They're going to be providing staffing to actually ticket the event altogether, purchasing tickets, collecting tickets. So we blocked the facilities, so there are no reservations during the time of the event because we wouldn't really be able to provide enough parking and have other events go on at the same time, so.
And the oversight will be yours?
Yes.
Responsibility or Bill's?
It's actually going to be a combination of probably our operations staff of Rancho San Rafael Park in addition to, Arboretum staff.
And I'd just like to remind everyone that there's no rental fee for this. It's waived. It's a partnership because, 10% of the gross, or probably the net, is going to the May Arboretum Society? Is that right?
It is gross, and the money actually goes into the restricted fund for the Arboretum. So the money wouldn't go to the Arboretum Society, it actually goes right to our restricted fund. And the potential, we have the potential to earn $100,000, so it's essentially a fundraiser. So that, yes, you're correct, there are no fees that we would be charging Tianyu.
All right, if there are, do you have a question? Yeah.
So will the expected revenue from this event make up for any losses related to not having availability for special event rentals?
Excellent question. We talked about that internally, and the Arboretum has been underfunded. We've lost a significant amount of money in the budget for the Arboretum specifically. So in talking with staff, we felt that the money, because the money from the sale of this would go directly to the Arboretum, that because they've been so underfunded for so long, that it was a good potential impact for them to be able to. I shouldn't say impact, but for them to maintain all of those fees. So that money would solely go into the Arboretum. And, it does affect all of the other park staff, but that's pretty common for most of the special events that we put on at Rancho San Rafael Park.
When you do host a wedding or some reservable event, does that money go into the general fund, or is it, just straight back to the
All of our fees we don't have any special revenue fund any longer.
All right. See no other questions, would entertain a motion?
Move to recommend to the Board of County Commissioners to approve an agreement between Washoe County, Tianyu, and Culture Incorporated and the May Arboretum Society to host a Chinese Lantern Festival in the May Arboretum and Botanical Garden at Rancho San Rafael Park, Regional Park, from June 30th through August 5th, 2018.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right.
All right, passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next is item 8, which is update and discussion on Smoke-Free Parks Joint Agency Working Group. I got nothing here, Eric, so
For the record, Eric Crump with Washoe County's Community Services Department. We actually don't have an update. There was not a quorum, so there was not a meeting in October for that group. The next scheduled meeting for that group is November 30th, so I would expect any representative, Commissioner Nenzel, will be on there, and I don't know if you have anything to add, Commissioner?
No, I don't have anything to add at this time.
So next meeting for that group would be November 30th, so we expect an update from that group during the December meeting.
the only thing I'd say to that is I went to the Sparks Parks Commission, which was last Wednesday, and they had a little discussion on the item, and it's interesting because the longer this thing goes on, the more people think about the implications of making smoke-free facilities, and the less it seems like the enthusiasm for this whole thing becomes, just because you start to see the implications. I don't know, that I felt like that's where Sparks was. Just my 2 cents on what they thought about it.
Just a couple of comments and observations. I think I told you at the last meeting, I was up in Salem and talked to their park staff about their policy. And they're pretty strong. They in fact, they use the sheriff's department to come out and arrest people if they're smoking in the park. So they take a real hard stand against smoking tobacco use at all in their parks, and they enforce it with the sheriff's department. I asked about the impact of that, and it was pretty. As you can imagine, I didn't talk to the sheriff, but there is an impact to the sheriff's department to do that kind of enforcement. About a month ago, I was down in Las Vegas, and I talked to city staff of both Clark County and Henderson, and they don't enforce it. And it gets to be very confusing for the people that utilize the parks down there, because the signs are up, and the parks, as you can imagine with this community, Sparks, Reno, Washington County all have their own parks, and it's good that the committee's meeting with all three. But down there, the same thing. Clark County, Henderson, City of Las Vegas, City of North Las Vegas, Boulder City, they kind of all one big, large community, and they have different signage in their communities. And it's confusing at best and not enforced at all. It's on a voluntary basis. Sure. So there's a lot to discuss, as you well know, with the committee that you have formed. And I just, on a cautionary note, the enforcement is going to be really tricky, however it boils down.
You know, another thing that happened with Sparks was they did a Survey Monkey, and that was very informative. Maybe we can ask, maybe you could ask them to share the results. They're interesting. It was 18% of the people said they didn't support didn't support banning smoking in parks, which means the vast majority of people did support it. But if you look at the comments, they were interesting, to say the least. And maybe an interesting thing for the county to do, to put the Survey Monkey out. I think, just so you know, Truckee Meadows Parks Foundation is going to put together a survey and put that out. So maybe it's something we could collaborate on. The Parks Foundation has a reach of about 4,500 people through email, so it's substantial. It's probably not exactly the same people you guys have. So if we could maybe coordinate on the questions, if you wanted to do a survey. But it was very informative, you know, so.
Before you go using your nonprofit funding, we are, and Mr. Solaro, if you could maybe ask Slaughter where we're at on this project, we're getting ready to hopefully buy a program that is just for one issue items that can quickly be released to the public, and then the public can either via phone or write in or computer tell us exactly that snapshot on that day where they are in time. And this has been designed by a company from somebody that used to be in local government, because a lot of times people will show up here and they are the vocal minority and not the vast majority's will. And the people that agree with what you're doing, they don't have time to show up. They just say, okay, it's fine. So if you could get a timeline, Mr. Solaro, and we can partner with Truckee Meadows Parks Foundation, because that could then be used countywide to kind of beat them over the head with, this is the right thing to do. But if we're not going to enforce it, I'm sorry, I turn a little libertarian on this. I don't understand why put another law in the books. We'd have to have the sheriff's deputies and parks to be trained to call on people. And then a lot of that too, right, is social reinforcement. So people will no longer feel as emboldened to smoke at a park if there are signs up and other people saying like, hey, don't do that. That's against the law. So don't expend your funds yet. Let us see what we can do, because our reach is much bigger and it's statistically significant.
Mm-hmm. And that was one of the points, is this solving a problem that doesn't exist? If people are already self-policing and really smoking in a park it's not a problem for the most part. Is that the reality or not? That's just depends on who you talk to. All right, any other discussion on this issue? If not, all right, we'll move on to acceptance of a PAC internship grant for future interns in parks.
Okay, for the record, Colleen Wallace-Barnum, Parks Operations Superintendent. Back in March, I attended an informational session UNR put on for interns. They've been doing this for years, so just an opportunity to go out there and learn about what they have. So obviously, they have different types of internships. They have project-based internships, or you could do it for ongoing operations. They have paid or unpaid. They obviously have to follow Department of Labor standards. Sometimes the internship's tied to academic credit, and that is an entirely separate type of internship. We've used that internship for the last couple years at the May Museum with some of the collections and some of the work that's being done there. The one main thing that they emphasize is there needs to be be some type of a learning component for students. So I brought it to park staff at operations meeting. We decided, hey, let's go for it. Let's try the PAC internship. The PAC internship actually is funded through the university. So we thought, let's try it. So we threw out 3 different options. One was with our project and safety coordinator. One was with our volunteer coordinator. And one was at the museum. The museum decided to stick with the one that was credit-based because that was a better really fit for their needs. And the PAC internship came back to us and said, you know, we can support one. It's a pretty minimal amount of money. It's only $2,880 over the course of 3 years. You commit to a 3-year intern, and it's not necessarily the same person, but what that does is it's a $12 an hour position for 120 hours. And that intern, the one that was accepted, and the one we're hoping to get, is going to work directly with our parks, the project and safety coordinator, and currently he's working on all of the inventory we have for our playgrounds. He just became a playground safety specialist. We didn't have that position for many years in the county, probably about 8 years. So we're kind of outdated on the data that we have in terms of data collection. So we do have the actual inventory of the playgrounds, but we're now trying to tie in the inventory with the condition, a condition index, and then, you know, maintenance features associated with that. So kind of creating that, this intern would actually help in that process. So that's what we want to start off with, and if this is successful, we want to just continue doing internships. It's a great opportunity to promote you know, our youth that are at our local university with you know, jobs in local government. Gives them a lot of exposure to what we do and what we do for our citizens. And, you know, we used to have a recreation degree. We used to have natural resource degrees that are no longer available, but there's a lot of other degrees that could potentially fit parks that are out there. And we just think it would be a good opportunity to move forward on, so hopefully we can grow it from here. Any questions?
Parks Foundation has used these PAC internships before, and they work well.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right, well, seeing no further discussion, this is an action item.
I move to approve.
Got a motion?
Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, passes unanimously.
Okay, thanks. We'll be going to the board hopefully December 14th.
Wonderful. All right, next is the program Park of the Month, and it's greenhouse update. So it looks like we have Bill Carlos.
Good afternoon. For the record, my name is Bill Carlos. I'm the Washington County horticulturalist, and I manage the Wilbur May Arboretum and Botanical Garden. So today we're going to talk about the greenhouse. Long time coming. Hopefully I'll get this right. It was actually started back in 2016 and 17. It's actual construction of the greenhouse. That's what it looks like. Most of the funding has come from Washoe County. We actually applied for I guess it was a proposal from John Slaughter for a county project for staff. Phil Brazier, my assistant, brought up the idea of let's, you know, continue with the master plan and build the implementation plan and build a greenhouse. So we wrote a proposal, submitted it to, at the time, Jen Budge. She submitted that, and we were fortunate enough to be awarded $100,000 to start the greenhouse. We also received $150,000 from WC1 funds, and then we also had $31,000 donation from the Garden Gate Club. Now, if you look at those numbers, and if you add them right, we're off about $100,000. Should be $281,000 if you can make that correction. So, okay. The greenhouse was was a competitively bid and awarded to Clearspan Fabric Structure, Farm Tech. They're out of Texas. The greenhouse was installed by a subcontractor, local contractor, Bison Construction, as part of the purchase price for the greenhouse. The site work was performed by Gradex Construction, and the site work was also performed by Gray and Associates. Structural design was by Toby Wade Consulting, and the permitting process took place through the city of Reno. The greenhouse was originally scheduled to be completed in February 2017, And as we all experienced last season, the winter was unprecedented, which caused numerous delays of getting material in and doing any kind of grading whatsoever. So it didn't get completed until about 2017, July of 2017. We did have a ribbon cutting ceremony. It was held August 30th, 2017. We have all the players there at the ribbon cutting, and of course Commissioner Lucy was there, as well as Colleen, staff, and many others. So it was a great day to open up the greenhouse. I often get asked, why the greenhouse? Well, it's part of the 2002 implementation plan. The greenhouse is located off Sierra Street, and that's part of what we're trying to do, is complete this 2002 plan. This is what the implementation plan looks like. Over here, let's see, right here is McCarran Boulevard. Here is Sierra Street, and we placed the greenhouse right over here, right across the street from Archie's, our favorite neighbor, right, Eric? Yeah. So anyway, that's where the greenhouse will live for a while, and if we do ever get funding to complete this project, it'll be moved back over here. This is the conservatory, and of course, offices, classrooms, and coffee shop and bookstore. The purpose of the Arboretum is, number one, to increase the plant diversity of the collection, also to replace plants that have been damaged or have died, to serve the May Arboretum as well as Washoe County regional staff. I put together a order form for Washoe County staff. If they would like to have any kind of plants grown, we can actually do that in the Arboretum now. So we'll also assist the May Arboretum Society with their annual plant sale, which is held the first June of every year.
First Saturday.
First Saturday. What did I say? The first June. First Saturday. Thank you. Also, we also would like to expand the purpose of the Arboretum, and that would be to collect native plants and seeds, also propagate plants for Washoe County revegetation and reclamation projects, and also grow plants for seasonal displays in the Arboretum, as well as the parks. We'd also like in the future to start a plant conservation program within Washoe County. We would actually collect and propagate Northern Nevada's rare, listed, classified, threatened, or endangered plant species, and hope to collaborate and engender other organizations and other municipalities to help with, any conservation efforts that we can. We'd grow and cultivate these species, and what's missing, let's say, from Division of Forestry and BLM, is that they do a great job of locating these rare, threatened, endangered plant species, but there's no place to grow them. So we'd like to be able to offer that and increase our collection and grow those plants ex situ in the Arboretum and have that germplasm available for the future. Also, we'd like to start a seed exchange program, which can be done nationally or even internationally. And this would allow us to move towards a higher level of accreditation and ranking. Right now, we're an accredited level 2 Arboretum. We've satisfied all of the qualifications to reach that particular level. As I mentioned earlier, we'd like to engage other governmental educational institutions regionally as well as nationally, and maybe assist with their preservation and conservation programs. One other part of the future plans of the Arboretum is one day is provide school tours for Northern Nevada school districts. We'd also make that available to private and chapter schools, assist local schools with actually growing vegetable seedlings for their gardens as well. So we'll put together an order form, list all the different plants that we can grow in the Arboretum, and make that available to the school district where we can assist them as well. Currently, the greenhouse is being used to grow shade plants for an upgrade that we did in the gardens, it's Kristen Gardens. The renovation was funded by a generous donation from the May Arboretum Society. It's about $20,000. What we tried to do is save money, is that we order smaller plants and bring them into the greenhouse, and we pot them up, let them grow for about 5 or 6 weeks, let them harden off, and then plant them in the gardens. Thanks to the May Arboretum Society and Arboretum volunteers, we're able to repot about 300 plants, and we just recently planted all of those plants, or most of those plants, in this new upgraded garden. What we're trying to achieve is to build a shade garden for display and for education. So that's our current project. That's how it was being used. Right now, county staff, or our staff, had to go through some special training to manage the greenhouse, and particularly the cooling and heating of the greenhouse. We received training on a Link 4 control system, which is a high-quality, high-tech agriculture environmental control system. And again, they're primarily used and manufactured to control greenhouse environments. In closing, I'd like to thank John Slaughter for approving this project, Phil Brazier to pushing me to apply for this project, and also Rosemary, who handled a lot of the fiscal part of it, and Brett Steinhardt, Bill Wardell, the project managers, and also Dennis, I believe, who also helped us achieve our goal of building this great facility. So it's up and running right now. I feel very fortunate to have this greenhouse to be part of the parks and May Arboretum. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you very much, Mr. Horticulturist. So is this on level with, I mean, I know it's much bigger, but sort of what the city of Reno has in their greenhouse? I'm good friends with Pamela Meekum, who's their horticulturist, and she grows all those flower, the hanging flower displays
Baskets.
that everybody loves. Yeah, is the county going to be doing things like that too for beautification?
The door is open for things like
Okay.
that, yeah. I know Pam actually writes a grant and able to get some assistance with those baskets as well. But that's something in the foreseeable future that we can see having right here in the
Right, on our
in the county
campuses.
campus. Yeah, right here on this campus.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a big potential that we can take a look at.
Great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Comment.
Hey, Doug.
Congratulations, Phil. A really nice step forward, and also make sure that Phil understands what a integral part he's been in getting this going, and how happy I am to see it come to a climax of sorts. He's still going to be growing over the years, but a great project. You guys did a great job. If we can ever get the funding to do the larger implementation plan, that would be great, but this is a good step forward, good first step.
Thank you. We always say, build it and they will come. So we're hoping we can fulfill that implementation plan one day. Thank you, Doug.
Well,
Any
build
other
it and they'll
questions?
grow.
I would just like to say that I think this is a great thing. The greenhouse looks amazing, and I want to thank the manager's office for making it possible. It wouldn't have happened without the support of that internal grant that you were awarded. I'm just curious, do you guys know, is that still happening? Is the manager's office, no? You know how it was I thought it was going to be an annual thing, but maybe it was just a one-time.
For what?
It's not going on still. The manager's office gave $100,000 to, it was internal in the county.
Yeah.
It might have been some one-off. Well, it's cool anyway, you guys won, so good. Good job. It's good to see it go to parks. Parks need the help.
You should ask staff to ask the manager why and when can we apply again? Right, Doug?
Good job. Ask. Right, Commissioner.
Yeah, it would be interesting to know if that was something that was going to happen again. I don't know.
Yeah, and
But-
when we're eligible.
Yeah.
That's your job.
All right, we have a request. Thank you, Commissioner Doolittle. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Next is Parks Report.
Okay, hello again. For the record, Colleen Wallace Barnum, Parks Operations Superintendent. A couple of quick highlights for Park District reports. We had the Celtic celebration at Bartley Ranch. This is its 10th year, and they had 4,000 participants throughout the weekend. It's always a fun event. If you haven't been, please stop by sometime. And the new maintenance and storage building is going to open soon. We just need power to be hooked up, but it's over on the 1855 Del Monte property, and we're close to opening, which is wonderful. We've needed a shop there for about 20 years when the park opened. The Great Rhino Balloon Races, we had about 125,000 participants over that weekend, or week, I should say. But it was very successful. We had good weather, and it was well received by many members of the public, and lots of accolades for how the park looked. And then finally, upcoming, you'll see some activity going on at the Sand Dome at the Lazy 5 Regional Park. It was originally constructed with some recreational elements inside, and we're going to breathe some life back into those. So we'll keep you updated on that. And the May Center, as far as the museum, they just finished up their Sherlock Holmes exhibit, and so they're moving on to a Sierra Watercolors exhibit that'll be starting on Thursday. And I think Hall of Heroes begins in January. It's rolling in, so that'll be a fun exhibit also. So we'll provide more updates next time. We have Dennis Troy here to provide some park planning updates. Any questions on these updates? No?
What did you say happened to Lazy 5?
There's a sand dome. It's a structure out there.
Sand dome? Oh, it's
Sand dome. So it was,
yeah.
like a roads department would house sand and salt in there. And so anyway, hasn't been used for a while, and just breathing some life back into it from a recreation standpoint. Okay, without further ado, Dennis Troy, Park Planner.
Just a comment on the parks. I'm not surprised at all, but I'm really happy to see the condition of the parks. I mean, they look absolutely terrific. I went out north, looked at your project out there, and also it was out at Lazy 5 for a private party, and I'm down south all the time, and those parks are, I mean, the south parks look better than I've ever seen them, to be quite honest. And so the other parks are looking fabulous.
Thank you. I will make sure I pass that on to staff. We have a lot of dedicated staff. That's really what it comes down
Yeah,
to. So
please-
thank you. I'll
please
make
thank
sure I
them.
pass that on.
Thanks, Colleen. For the record, Dennis Troy, Park Planner. Sorry, I just kind of scampered in here. I came out of a meeting which was for the Countywide Parks Master Plan. We just had our first Technical Advisory Committee meeting, sat in with staff from the City of Reno, as well as the City of Sparks and the school district. So that ball is rolling and rolling rapidly. So stay tuned for more updates as we proceed to move forward. We're going to be entering into stakeholders meetings over the next couple of weeks, and then also a series of very robust public meetings to get the input to develop the first ever Countywide Parks Master Plan. So from there, it's been a little bit hectic recently trying to button up all the park playground projects that have been under construction. We have about, about 6 projects that have just buttoned up. I was down this morning. Bowers Mansion Playground is now officially open. I did the final walkthrough this morning, so we will be posting that online and opening it up to the public. Callahan Park is nearing completion. It should be open next Monday. Thomas Creek Park, I was there today. It will, actually the 5 to 12-year-old structure is open right now. The 2 to 5-year-old structure should be open by the end of this week, just a couple little punch list items. And then Whites Creek Park, that should be open probably the end of next week. We're just waiting for some final pieces of some play equipment to show up. So pretty exciting. A few weeks ago, Eagle Canyon Park Playground opened. It's a brand new facility out there. And then also Gator Swamp Playground opened up. So, as you can see, the theme is a very busy summer with playground improvements. North Valley's Phase 5, the expansion, it sounded like Vice Chair Doolittle was out there. That project's about 95% of the way complete. You can go out there, the grass seed has popped, and you can kind of see a little chia pet out there growing. So it'll continue. It'll actually be dormant for the next few months, but should take off pretty good in the spring. Again, that park is slated to open in the fall of 2018. In conjunction with that project, we also had some grant fund monies to build a trail system just due east of where that expansion is. We're going to be putting in a few miles of trails there. That contract should be awarded this week to Sierra Trails Work. They will be starting construction on it probably next week. It needs to be completed by the first of the year in order to close out that grant. So pretty busy. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
All right, thank you, Dennis.
Thank you.
All right, next we're on to Director's Report. Director Solero. Actually,
Good
not
afternoon.
Director Solero, right?
For the record, Dave Solero, Assistant County Manager. Just a couple of quick things. So you all received an email from a new face to this commission, Jennifer Purgett. She will be helping out, kind of corralling agendas and staff reports and communications to you all, part of our process of trying to consolidate all of the boards and commissions within the Community Services Department under one watchful group. We also have Kathy Emerson, who's going to be popping in here and there, assisting through that process. So we can get this an opportunity for us to get all of our boards and commissions with consistent agendas, staff reports, all those sorts of things throughout our purview. A couple of interesting things of note from the Board of County Commissioners, some really exciting things. So we, September 26th, the board authorizes to purchase a new mower. So a new mower for Rancho San Rafael. This is exciting stuff for the staff. Just ask them. I mean, this is big stuff here. $92,000 mower. So this is a really good addition for staff up at Rancho. We also accepted I believe the Ranchera proposal came forward to this board and then through to the Board of County Commissioners. So the Board of County Commissioners accepted the materials for from Ranchera. There's also a maintenance agreement for some additional equestrian facilities at Bartley Ranch. The board also accepted a hazardous fuels treatment sub-grant. This will be used up in the Arrow Creek area on some open space that we've got, Washoe County open space, to help with some fuels reduction up there. And then the other item was the approval of the grant, or the approval of the grant of easement for sewer facilities out at Cold Springs Park that also came through this board. So that was, pretty good win for us there. One item while I'm here giving you an update is the special projects grant that we received for the greenhouse that you heard earlier. I believe that program in the manager's office this year went towards our leadership program. So we've got 5 leadership groups within the county at the direction of the county manager doing some really great things for Washoe County. So that's where the funding went this year in lieu of community subgrants. So I wanted to make sure that information was out to you. And with that, I'll open it up for any questions you may have for me.
Great, thank you. Questions, comments? Yes.
I see here is the Bellman Gulf Revenue Summary Report.
That was.
Can you just bottom line that for us?
Yeah, in fact, that's, thank you for bringing that up. So right now, what you've got there is just the Bellmen. So this is the Washoe Gulf report. Roughly, let me pull it back up. I had it here. So currently through, this report runs through September. And we're about a month behind in the reports because I meet with them on roughly the 20th of each month, which is when they provide to Washoe County an update. Currently at the 25,400 roughly equivalent 18-hole rounds that were at Washoe Golf. That equates right now to roughly $61,500 worth of revenue coming back to Washoe County. So we get this first year 10% of the revenue off the rounds of golf are direct to Washoe County. Now, this was, as you'll recall, the new agreement where at Washoe anyway, The operator is doing everything. It's maintenance. We don't have any maintenance of the facility anymore. They pay all the bills, and they give us a piece of the rounds of play. One thing I am planning on doing, and I'll probably have them come here first in January, is a recap of golf for the year, calendar year 2017. I'm going to ask Mike Mazzaferri with CR Sage to do the same, so that you can get a comprehensive Washoe County state of golf in January, kind of what occurred in 2017, what progress was made, and where we stand with that. Have them come to the Open Space and Park Commission first, and then on to the Board of County Commissioners as well. That has been requested by the board. But I want to really get a full year of operation under Bellman's belt before I do that. So thank you for bringing that back to my attention.
All right. Any other comments, questions?
If I may, Mr. Chairman, the bottom line on the $61,000 owed to Washoe County,
So
is that a balance outstanding right now?
no, that is up to date. I get the checks early these days.
Okay,
So, yep, we're in good shape.
thank you.
All right, great. I just want to congratulate you on your new job. I don't know. That did happen since our last meeting, right?
It was September
official?
12th.
Yeah. All right. Well, congratulations.
Thank you, I
You're a
appreciate
great candidate for it. So good job.
Continue to do good things for Washoe County residents.
You do. And also just like to welcome Jennifer Purgett again. Thank you. And you've been very helpful, and you're just trying to. I can see your enthusiasm, and I appreciate that. It'll be nice to have you. So thank you. And also Kathy, you as well. So thank you for being here. Any other comments? Anything else? Then thank you, Director or Assistant Manager. All right, next we're on to Commissioner comments. Any Commissioner comments? Go down the list. Do you have any? Yeah.
I just want to congratulate Bill on opening the greenhouse. I think it'll be great for our community.
All right, seeing no others, I just want to keep it in everybody's mind that we'll be writing another letter in support of parks to present, for possible recommendation and by this board to be read and onto the record by either our liaison or me. And I think the proper time to do that would be December, January. If I'm not, that's pretty much even later than that potentially. Yeah. So we're not in a rush right now. But if anybody wants to take a stab at writing the letter this year, I would be happy to have you do that. So think about it. I mean, we have all the old drafts are available if you wanted some. I mean, I don't know if it would be inspirational or not, but the drafts are available if you wanted to look at them. And it might be something good for us to draft and then also just show to staff, get some input from them on what we're saying before we bring it in here. So seeing no other commissioner comments, we do have a public comment. Kathy?
My name is Kathy Brandhorst, and I'm also the United States President. I just wanted to let you know that the problem is not going to disappear. We are still having the experience, from the outsiders coming into our territory. Lots of people are asking me what happened to the Reno population. They're all buried right now in the cemetery. We have almost 12 miles in diameter in the cemetery. Oh my God. And I just don't know if we're going to be able to control it because it seems like it takes too long for justice to be done. The people on death row are not put in jail. They're not put in prison. they're not destroyed, and they're still walking the streets and still killing and murdering innocent people on the streets and sidewalks. Also, in the department stores, we have been lots of shoplifting, and there is still carrying machine guns. They come back. You saw me shoplift, so I will shoot everybody down in the store. That has been happening quite a bit since the outsiders are in here into Reno, Nevada. And it has not lifted at all because I've been getting lots of complaints from everybody. They do not pay. What is wrong with paying? Everybody pays. No, they don't, because they are poor people. The poor people are still coming across the border of Mexico and into the United States. Where are they? They might be hiding in Hollister, California, with Joe Vega. I just wanted to tell you, you know, this is not going to clear up. It's not going to go away. We still need help here in our area, in the Reno area. The U.S. military are always disappearing, and we don't know what happens to them at all. But we need the assistance for justice. Justice does not seem to be here at all to help us. And we don't carry guns. We're just a public, and the public has no way of protecting themselves.
All right, Kathy, thank you. We're adjourned. Thank you.
Thanks.